What do you think are the most important issues facing women in your country? What role does religion play? And for Natasha, can you tell us about the OREC March?
Just being women, that's the most difficult part we are facing in Pakistan because uh, in some list I was reading, I don't remember the name of this magazine, Pakistan is considered one of the least good countries, like the worst countries to be born as a woman in. So there's this basic fight for recognition of yourself as a human being. Apart from that, this great heartbreaking influence of liberal feminism, it's it's tiring that you cannot actually escape that. And Aurat March, you mentioned, Aurat March, it is born out of all the issues we have in Pakistan, like incest rapes are huge number, pedophilia has like breaks all the records in last few years. Uh, basic things. I mean, whatever you name, a woman can suffer. We have it there, and we have it like huge. It's not like every 2 or days or a week later, maybe we feel that. No, it's a constant struggle to exist as a woman. I believe there is an emergency going on for women in Pakistan, but still that's none of the government's priority to deal with, and that is also problematic on so many levels, that when you can make time to make a whole new law for protecting people who have issues with their imaginary self, you cannot do enough for women to go out of their houses, maybe on the street, because there have been incidents that these young girls as young as 8 years old, they go out of the house to the, my god, it's so difficult not to swear seriously. They go out to their religion class and they get raped and murdered. 8 year babies, 6 years, boys and girls, all these babies are being attacked, and there is no solution to that. And the best solution actually the government came up with is to castrate all these men without having to say that internet is filled, it's so huge and it is filled with these creeps, nobody can touch them. And the the law they are trying to pass, it's extremely ridiculous because it says that people who would be charged for the second time, they would be hanged to that. So if you rape a woman for one time, it's okay, you're good to go, because who cares about women anyway. But if you do it second time, even though I told you not to do, because I'm a man, and to man we should have a pact with each other and we should respect each other. If not, if you don't do that, I will fucking hang you. I'm sorry. Okay. So this is the whole situation about women's rights. In all this, the very tiny, very beautiful thing that comes out is the resistance movement from women called Aurat March. Aurat literally meaning, translating actually into English is women, but Aurat itself as a vocabulary word, it's extremely nasty because it means something to be hidden. It means something to be ashamed of. This is what Aurat in Urdu, which is the official language of Pakistan, means. So I already should be ashamed of showing my face here, because this is what I am, a shameful object, a shameful existence. Anyway, so Aurat March is like this year, next year is going to be the third year that we have it. And it could not have been any more problematic than it has always been for last 2 years. That first year, it was all good and beautiful, full of empowerment. You could see that these young girls, they want to feel free finally, and they are shouting about it. But it was not okay with men, because there were some 5, 10 slogans out of hundreds that they pick up, and they started harassing women. They wanted women to justify themselves. Why would you dare to walk on our streets because this is in Pakistan, in a country like Pakistan, it is literally men's street, because after 4 or 5 in the afternoon, you do not see any women. You do not see. I went to Pakistan for a family wedding in 2018, and at 6 p.m. I was in the local market, and I have never felt such guilty to exist as a woman as I felt that day, because it was all men, like it's 2 kilometer street and not even one single woman. And this was still a tiny big city that I'm talking about. Maybe in the capital city or in bigger cities, tiny bit difference, because there we have class privilege as well that prevails, but the majority is that there is there are men's streets. So the harassment from the media, from the government people as well, there was huge. So women were defending themselves, but what has happened already, thanks to our um, I want to call them friends, but there is internal resistance, or people who are promoting transgender ideology. What they did for the second Earth March was to still invite men, because there is still huge resistance from men against women only spaces. And Earth March, as the word says, it's a women's march. They did not want any men. Yet in the organization team, as we have almost like, if not half, 60 to 70%, no, 40 to 30% men, and some of them are LGBT people, or non-binary is also very catchy nowadays, and trans people as well. And they want to make sure that this march is not only about women, because again, we do not care about women. We care, if you have to talk about women's rights, you have to talk about all the other things, otherwise you cannot talk. And even in that, you don't talk about LGBT rights, you just talk about the T rights, because that's the norm. You don't touch LGBT, because oh my god, it's homophobic, or oh my god, it's against my religion. But acceptance, because there was a question before which mentioned, in Islamic countries, how do we have transgenderism? This is the reason. Even in Iran, we have got very open acceptance of transgender and the operation that can be done, but not of LGBT people, because this is how Islam sees the LGBT, right? That we are some kind of people who needs, like, it's just like maybe 50, 60 years ago, what Western countries believe, that we need conversion. And now that's openly accepted. And that's being done thanks to the medical people from the whole world, and the religious people, as even just like in Catholic churches, we have heard a lot of pedophilia cases. We have heard a lot of pedophilia cases within Muslim teaching centers, that it's just has never been counted, maybe, and would never be, because it's again against the religion, and when one cannot openly talk about it. So in all this Earth March, what they did, that for the second time, they kind of made fun of themselves, I would say, that instead of saying it's going to be like openly saying that it's going to be strictly women only spaces, they made some very cute tiny law, because this is what liberal feminism do, they sugarcoat the shit, and it's glittery but still shit, but you are okay to see it because it's glittery and shiny. And this is what was done for Earth March, that you, as a man, you cannot enter, and then you have to have the cis and I don't know, so many tags in front of you, but as a man, as a male person, you cannot enter. But if you're a gay, if you're a non-binary blob, this is how I like to call them anyway, that if they're not any kind of binary sex, they are blobs, I'm sorry to say. Yes. And if you are a straight white person, you must have the 2 female guardians next to you. But so there are no men rule, and yet there are so many exceptions, that it was infiltrated so much that a lot of women went home harassed, There were women. Then on the other hand, there were religious people in the capital city that started throwing stones at these women for talking about their selves. So on one hand, they were fighting the religious people. On the other hand, so right wings. On the other hand, they were being harassed by the left wingers who made themselves welcome in all these women only places, because feminists cannot exist on their own. How dare they not invite a leftist man if he says that he is a liberal, or if he says he's a progressive leftist, he cannot be left out. This is going to be disrespectful, and you're not going to be called a good feminist if you do it. In all this, women who came out to protest against the monstrosity that Pakistan is doing to women, it was all gone to F off, because these women went home harassed, terrified, and I'm not sure if they're going to come back and promote any kind of feminism when they are being taught that this is the ultimate version of feminism, where you have to, adjust yourself within men's spaces and not talk about your individual existence as a woman, your needs, or your just thoughts as women. You're not okay to say that. It has to be extremely patriarchal, otherwise you do not exist. So this is the global picture, and we are in deep beep, 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 beep. I mean, this is going to be beeped anyway. So this is the situation. This is the war situation we have to deal with in Pakistan.